But I also do think that service is about perceptions somewhat. If I had walked into this room today and had a pair of 6-inch stiletto heels, black fishnet hose, black leather mini skirt, fairly bared bodice, hair poofed to the ceiling, and a whip, you possibly... Good job.
Are you looking for a speaker who can engage your audience? Then Joan Fox is the expert you need. Joan Fox is one of the foremost thinkers in service and service leadership of our time, and she delivers her message in a way that audiences can hear it, with passion, insight, and fun. Joan started her professional career as a clinical microbiologist, then turned her microscope in for a career in sales. Successful and compelled to move on, she founded her own speaking, training, and consulting company in 1988. Since that time, she has captivated over 800 audiences. Her mission is not only to serve her clients, but to make her clients feel served.
This is what happened in the 80s. We all became disappointed because we took it literally. We then went into the 90s, where we actually labeled the 90s the decade of the customer. This is the decade where hundreds of books were written on customer service, hundreds of thousands of seminars given on customer service, and I think what happened in this decade was this. We critically raised the level of awareness about how important service really is. It got us ready to the point where we are today, which I think is a very different space than we've ever been in, and this is the space where we finally realize that customer service, having a service strategy, is a critical part of your overall business strategy. Okay, so let's start with your service strategy this afternoon. Number one in your service strategy, and this one I think is so important, is for us to finally spend as much concentration on our current customer base as we do on the acquisition of customers. As much time on customer retention as acquisition, as many resources on customer retention as acquisition. And I know you won't do it. And you know why? Because it's a human thing not to. Now let me put these two things in front of you. Okay, here's retention. This is what you've got. Okay, and you know what that is. And this is what you can have. Okay, now which one's sexier? What you've got or what you can have? All right, is this one, this is pretty cool over here. You've got this nice customer base, but look at what's over here. Oh man, we'll be really cracking when we get that happening. We'll just be jazzed. We pull that account in, won't we? It's sexier. Acquisition is sexier. There is something about the hunt that's exciting. Think about back when you were dating, or maybe if you're dating right now. You know, when the person you were dating was hanging on your every word. Do you remember that? Smiling as you spoke, actually listening and responding. And when you take them to a video store and bring home a movie, it would be a chick flick, okay? Now, tell me what happens after acquisition occurs. My last point in your service strategy here is this, that there is definitely a difference between getting served and feeling served. You've all gotten served, right? You've sat at a restaurant and had kind of an average experience, or maybe a not so good experience, and you vote with your feet and you decide to leave. You got served. You asked for a particular dinner and you got it. You asked for a particular drink and you got it. You got served. So what's your gripe? The difference here is that you didn't feel served. And within that gap, if you do a gap analysis on that difference between getting served and feeling served, you will find a myriad of factors that go into that. One of the best examples that I can think of for this is I have a friend who every couple of years we go away together on a trip just to kind of get away from the families for a little while, chill, read. That's about it. Nothing else. And usually we go northeast. And one year what we did, we decided to go to the Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard area, and we took a plane into the Boston airport, and then we took a bus from the Boston airport to Woods Hole, Massachusetts, about 2.5 or 3 hour ride. Then we took a ferry, okay, over to the island, and then we took a taxi to the rental car, and then we took our rental car to the place where we were staying. And when we got back, we go, well, I wonder if there's an easier way to do that. So a couple of years later, we decided that we were going to go to Nantucket. And we thought, well, I wonder if we can just fly the whole way there. And so we flew into Boston and got onto this little commuter. You pick up your luggage. And this other little airline is called Cape Air. Has anybody in this room flown Cape Air? Okay. Well, this is your experience with Cape Air. You go up to the counter. They check you in. They weigh your luggage. And then they ask you, how much do you weigh? Okay? After all 6 of you are gathered there to go on the aircraft, they march you out to the tarmac, okay? And there's a little woman there, at least in this case it was a little woman, and they tell you exactly which seat to take on the aircraft. And in my case, she told me, she said, rear end. I said, excuse me? And she had heard that a few times before. She did not have a sense of humor. Okay, so I set the rear end. Luckily, my friend was seated right next to me. It was a gorgeous day. We're going over these beautiful waters, and all of a sudden, a storm cloud comes up. It looked like a little one, then it looked bigger and bigger. And before we knew it, we were in the middle of this huge storm. I felt like somebody had their hand on the aircraft and was doing this. I just knew somebody was outside doing this, and it was a very anxious experience. I'm a fearless flyer. Nothing bothers me at all. I end up in different cities sometimes when snowstorms happen or whatever. I really am pretty relaxed. And I was actually starting to feel like maybe I should have told all of my kids I loved them before I left. You know, that one of those kind of experiences. I wonder if my husband really knows how I feel about him. Now you can take that whatever way you want to. All of those experiences were going through my mind, and I'm thinking, this is crazy. I really wonder if this is it. Now, it didn't help that JFK Jr. had not too long before that had gone down in those exact same waters, and that was also in the back of my mind. So I leaned into my friend, and I'm thinking, you know what? I said, Patty, if we go down, it's my fault. She goes, you're crazy, Foxy. What are you talking about? I said, it'll be my fault. If we go down, it will be my fault. What are you talking about? I lied. I lied about my weight. She looks up and she goes, me too? We had the same thought at the same time, look quickly throughout the small aircraft. Only 2 males, the pilot and the person who was a passenger, and that seat where it should be a co-pilot, that was a passenger, male passenger. The rest were all female. What do you think? We're going, oh my God, we're going down. I was waiting for somebody to break out with Amazing Grace or something. It was a very, very, very tense experience. However, obviously, we made it. The storm cloud dissipated. We had an excellent pilot. As I was getting off the aircraft, I was the last one off because I was in the rear end. So I was the last one off, and I profusely thanked the pilot. And I said, thank you so much for getting us. Thank you for your expertise. Thanks for going to all your training classes. You know, thank you for getting us all here safely. Because you know what? If we had gone down, it would have been my fault. And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I lied about my weight. And he goes, we count on that. I felt served.